You know Benjamin Banneker, right? The one who did Washington D.C. after the Frenchmen left. Banneker had it all in his head. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
William Lewis Garrison,
Yeah,
the
but-
gas mask.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff
they
like
don't
that.
talk. That's
No.
see for me, that's the part of the history that they had excluded.
Right. Okay.
So now in the critical race theory, it's the same thing. They saying we need to include that type of information into history.
Right, but even more so, the reason why it has become such a firestorm is because it makes Caucasians feel uncomfortable when they look back and see how African Americans were treated during that period of time. They don't want to talk about the slavery. They don't want to talk about
No,
how the women were raped
No.
consistently, and that whenever black people were able to try and establish themselves, they will always find a way to come in and raid and destroy and pilfer and take.
We're family.
I can't think of all the
All your needs. SVP.
but there was
SVP. We're family.
one down in Florida.
We're gonna make you fall in love. SVP. We're gonna make you fall in love. SVP.
Don't have any self-love.
SVP. SVP.
Looking for something new? We thought so. SVP is mixing things up, and digital TV, it'll never be the same.
We're family. We're gonna make you fall in love. SVP.
Download the SVP app today on Roku, Apple, and Fire TV. Watch us. You know why?
We're gonna make you fall in love. SVP TV.
Tune in to Talking Law with attorney Daryl O'Neill and the special guest host, attorney Jerome Payne. Live TV talk on your digital device on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Download the SVP TV app right now. Check us out every Tuesday on Comcast Cable, Channel 17, 8:30 p.m. And we are live every Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question? Our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with attorney Daryl O'Neill on the SVP TV network.
Welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill. I'm your host. I got my main man with me, Jerome.
What's up, Daryl?
Man, it's a good day, man. How you doing?
Good. Welcome back,
Well, man,
man.
appreciate
Welcome
it.
back. Misty and I had a great time, but it's always best when the main man gets back on the line. That's what the audience are tuning in for. It's for Daryl O'Neill.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
My gracious co-host. I
Yes,
appreciate
yes.
that. So we need to say, if you have Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, or the SVP TV network app, you can watch the show live. And you can also watch it live on Facebook.
Right, and you can actively participate
Actively
by
participate.
sending your questions. Put them in the chat line.
Yeah,
Put them
yeah.
in the text line, and we will definitely deal with your questions.
And if you look up there, you see that the phone number is up
Oh,
there.
sure is.
So if you call,
Yeah.
we'll even answer your phone.
Hey.
You know, but you got to call during when we're live.
Yeah.
So if you call and it's being shown on Tuesday,
That's right.
it's not live because
Right.
that's the pre-recorded. That's pre-recorded.
But you get a chance to hear yourself again by listening on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And so you can call out your family and your friends and say, hey, I'm going to be on,
Right.
and let them tune in as well.
Absolutely. So we need to say welcome to Little Rock. Appreciate you watching. Welcome to West Memphis. Appreciate you watching. Welcome up Memphis, Shelby County.
Yeah.
Welcome to Mississippi. And Mom, welcome to the great state of Missouri.
All right.
All right.
But Daryl, you said one time somebody way Away had contacted you.
Yeah,
right?
I had a lady that contacted me. She was in California.
Yes, that's what I thought you
Yeah,
said.
she told me that she watches the show in California.
My goodness. Well,
Yeah.
well, certainly you got to say welcome to her there because she's
Welcome to
probably
California.
watching.
Yeah. I appreciate you watching the show way out on the West Coast.
Yes.
And
We are praying for you all with all of those fires and stuff that's in your area now.
Yeah. So Jerome, we were going to, I was talking to one of my colleagues, and I was just telling you about this earlier, Dan Norwood.
Yeah.
And he said to me, man, I was watching your show, and, I thought this was a legal show, and you lawyers are there talking about guns.
Yes.
But I guess what he felt is, he may have caught it in the middle.
Right.
Because we really started that show off with gun rights.
That's right.
So hopefully if you catch the show in the beginning, you'll see how we get to where we're going.
Yes.
Today we want to talk about holidays and Juneteenth.
But it wasn't just about guns. It was because it's a relevant conversation.
Right.
It's current events. We deal with current events.
Right.
So that's what the law does. The law is not stationary. It's not stagnant.
Right. Right.
So that's why we were on that.
Yeah, and so we brought a show back. I want to say maybe a couple of months ago, and we were talking about the civil rights laws.
Oh yes, sure.
And
you're
how the 1983 Civil Rights Law, 1984, 1985, 1986, 1986, 42 U.S.C. 1980, whatever, the Civil Rights Statute.
There, I'm not laughing at the statute, but just think, how many statutes does it take?
And that's where we got to and here's the problem, Jerome. Here we are. I think it was last year. Was it last year? I think last year the president made Juneteenth a federal holiday.
Yes.
So here's the sad thing about that. In the 1800s, after the Emancipation Proclamation, slaves being freed,
Right.
the civil rights laws came in. 42 U.S.C. 1918.
Okay.
We had to do this all over again. And the Title VII, 42 U.S.C. statutes, 1965, 68, the 42 U.S.C. 2000, which is the equal employment opportunity statutes.
Okay.
It's still a version of civil rights.
Okay.
But what happened is, we started off with, race, age, sex, and then it started getting into religion, national origin, race, disability. I mean, because the 1991, I think, was education on the disability, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I think that was the addition in
Okay.
in 1991. I may be wrong, but that's something in that neighborhood.
Sure.
But the point I'm making is 100 years before that, the Civil Rights Act was already in place. When Lincoln freed the slaves in the 1800s, they didn't get freed in the South.
Well, it was the Emancipation Proclamation said that all people in the states of rebellion, those slaves were freed by the Emancipation Proclamation.
Right.
But what happened was that it was old fashioned at that time, and the only way that messages could get out.
Wasn't no emails.
That's right.
No...
And like the Pony Express,
Yeah.
So it was done by what we call, even worse than that, we call snail mail now. But that was even worse because they had to travel in order. And so it was an additional period of time before all slaves knew that they were free, because it took maybe 2 years or so before the slaves in Texas were able to find out that they were free.
And what happened is, and the question became whether or not they knew on the 17th, 18th, or 19th, hence Juneteenth.
That's exactly right. That's perfect. So and our people are so unique and so able to adapt to situations by coming up with something like Juneteenth. So was it the 16th, the 17th, the 18th? We don't know,
Right.
but we know it was sometime in the teens.
Right. Right.
That's the kind of people there that endured the hardship, endured the what we call the middle passage. You know, I wish somebody would tell people of Jewish ancestry that they ought to forget about the Holocaust.
Right.
You know, that's a death knell. If you got on TV and said Jews should forget about the Holocaust, whatever you were doing, your career is gone,
Right.
just like that overnight.
Right.
But we keep constantly hearing people say, you need to forget about slavery.
Right. Yeah. At what point is
Get over it.
Get over it. And it's funny you say that. I mean, what ends up happening is if you make any negative reference to the Holocaust or any negative reference to anything related to the Holocaust, you're anti-Semitic.
It's over with.
So if
And you get that label, anti-Semitic. You're right.
if you're anti-Semitic for talking negative about the plight of the Jewish people, why aren't you racist for talking or denying the plight of the black people?
I like it, Daryl.
Because have we done enough, Jerome, to get that respect? Is that the issue?
Well, I think what happens is, and many times, that people don't want to acknowledge it was so horrible. It was just so inhumane, and so man's humanity to another man became at its worst during that time.
Well, it's easier to acknowledge something that was not done by your hands. The Holocaust committed that same atrocity that Hitler committed. I don't want to be labeled with Hitler.
Right.
And so what you're saying to Americans that perpetuated the slave trade and all that other stuff, and the slave treatment, is that you are analogous to Hitler.
Well, I don't see a difference there. What is
I
the
don't
difference?
either. I
If
don't
you
either.
murder, if you maim, if you deny, if you kill, if you steal, if you destroy, I mean, the word has not; those words have not changed their meanings.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone that does that should wear the same label, shouldn't it, Aaron?
I mean, that's kind of what I thought, But the problem, Jerome, and maybe I'm, check this out.
Okay.
Maybe I'm a black racist.
And maybe you are.
And here's the reason why I say that.
Because you don't want to forget it, and you want to make somebody acknowledge your pain.
No, because the difference between the Jewish people and us of people of color is we have not marketed ourselves where our money is so strong, people need our money. For instance,
Interesting.
think about it from this perspective.
Interesting.
In the 60s, right? 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, right? You could go and shake hands with Muhammad Ali, right?
Right.
You could go hang out with Jackie Robinson.
Got you.
I
I got you. I see where you're going.
y'all could eat together and drink together because they were just like you.
I got you.
And they had to spend their money with you because the white society would not accept it, didn't want them to. They couldn't eat in their restaurant.
Well, they could eat in the restaurant, but they had to dehumanize themselves by going through the back door.
Going through the back door.
Right. I want your money.
I want your money, but you gotta,
That's right.
So what ended up happening is the black community, hence, I think it was all the way up until maybe 85, 86, the historical black universities had some of the best athletic programs
Oh, yes.
out there.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice,
Yeah.
Mississippi Valley State. Too Tall Jones, Where'd he come from?
I don't know. I don't
Tennessee
know.
State.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know sports that
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
but,
you know,
yeah.
I'm you know, Tennessee State,
Right.
Grambling,
Right.
I mean, you know, all you know, Doug Williams.
I do know Doug Williams came from Grambling. I do
Yeah.
know that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so I mean, you know, so some of those top athletes
Yeah.
were coming from the historical black universities. What happened is when they desegregated and opened it up, they had desegregated before that.
Right.
But still, blacks were not really moving to those major universities in these large packs.
Right.
They were moving at a smaller clip.
Right.
And so, all the way up into the 80s, those top athletes were still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, you know, 80s, late 80s, 90s, you know, those athletes stopped going to the HBCUs primarily and started moving out to the traditional universities.
Right.
And so, you know, but I said all of to say that the black community, before desegregation, that's why I said I'm a black racist.
Yeah.
The black community before desegregation, a dollar turned over 50 times.
Wow.
50 times.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't go nowhere else.
Right. Right.
Made people so mad, they burned up towns because they were doing better than some of the non-minority
That's right.
towns.
That's
So
right.
they set Oklahoma,
Right.
black, Tulsa,
Right.
burned the entire town down.
In fact, they bombed it from the air.
Yeah, turned down,
Yeah.
and that happened to other towns
Sure,
and places. But the point of that is, once desegregation did happen, the blacks stopped pulling. A black dollar stopped turning.
Right.
Today, a black dollar turns one time.
If it even does that.
Well, it's gotta turn
when,
once.
when you first get it in your
First
hand.
get it in your hand. First get it in your hand.
It's
Because
gone.
what ends up happening is, instead of going to Southbrook Mall
Right.
or Hickory Hill Mall or Hillcrest Mall, whatever a mall is
Right.
that's in a predominantly black neighborhood,
Right.
I'm going to go all the way out to Wolf Chase
That's right.
and spend that dollar.
That's right. And now all the way down to Tiger, the Tiger Mall,
Tiger Mall
down in Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Yeah.
I'm going to go way out there
Yes,
to spend that dollar. That dollar doesn't turn in the black neighborhood.
that's right.
A Jewish dollar turns that 30, 40, 50 times. Corey ain't coming. Corey B. Trotz is not coming in Hickory Hill and spending his money.
That's right. That's right.
If he's got a legal matter, he ain't coming to Jerome Payne
No.
to deal with his legal matter.
That's right.
He's going to go to another Jewish lawyer.
That's right.
And I'm not mad at
No,
that.
no.
But that's how the dollar turns.
That's right.
That's how the community gets stronger. Now, the Jewish dollar is so strong, I bet you better not say nothing about, because if you do, you're anti-Semitic.
Yes.
And I can say that. I am calling you a racist.
Right.
I am calling you, when they say that you're anti-Semitic, they are calling you a racist.
That's exactly what they're saying.
And it's acceptable for you to be said that you're anti-Semitic. But if I call you a racist because you've done something or not doing something because of somebody's color, black,
Right.
when you gonna get over it?
You're playing the race card.
You're playing a race card.
Yeah.
Again,
It just blows your mind, Daryl. It
our
really
community,
does.
that's why I said I am a black
Yeah.
racist. Because our community has not strengthened who we are.
Right.
60s, even the 70s, we were strong.
That's right.
That neighborhood, again, like I just told you, I wouldn't, Ali, there's pictures where it was Ali, Jim Brown, Kareem,
I've seen them. I've seen the pictures.
it was one, and Jackie,
yeah.
all together.
Yeah.
When would you see that now?
You won't see it.
In a black neighborhood.
You won't see
When
it.
will you see that now?
You won't.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Again, I really believe that you should have that education or that opportunity at whatever school you want to go
That's
to.
right.
If you want to go to Harvard, you should be allowed to go to Harvard.
That's right.
If you want to go to Yale, so on and so forth, SLU, University of Memphis, wherever you want to go,
Right.
you should be allowed to go there.
Well, Daryl, I'm the recipient of affirmative action because the program that I went to law school under was created as a result of a lawsuit that was filed against the professional schools here in Tennessee. They determined by numbers, that there was disparate treatment and African Americans were not allowed opportunities to enter to these schools. Excuse me. So as a result of that, I was able to get an opportunity, and that's. But people fought so hard. You hardly ever. In fact, I can't remember the last time I heard somebody say affirmative action, except in a negative way. Then they changed it, and they always try to put some kind of label on it that makes it seem derogatory. Quotas.
And yeah, but
Why we got to have quotas?
But the thing is this, Jerome, and this is where you take this thing to the next level. Okay, so you say affirmative action, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no affirmative action exam.
That's right.
So when you taking a test at law school, whether it be Harvard, Yale, or University of Memphis,
Right.
they don't say, okay, well, we're going to give Jerome the affirmative action exam.
Right.
But we're going to give, the traditional student,
Right.
we're going to give him the white test.
Right.
And we're going to give Jerome the black test.
Right.
They don't have an affirmative action bar
They do not.
where it says, okay, well, all black people are going to take this bar.
Or they get 25 additional points.
for
Yeah.
taking a bar. That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
All
And in fact, it's done blindly. They're not supposed to have any idea whether it's an African American student, or Asian student, or whatever, because we don't use names, we don't use addresses,
Right.
we use numbers
Right.
in order for the exams to be
Yeah.
tested. Yeah.
So if that is in fact the case, right?
Right.
Only thing that the affirmative action, movement came in and put in place was an opportunity.
That's exactly
That's
right.
all it did was put in an opportunity.
That's all it did.
It didn't say, well, once we get you in here, you can't get out no matter what.
Right.
And if you fill out, we're gonna bring you back in and still let you test. That's not what happens.
That's not what happened.
So going back to this, Jerome, 1800s, civil rights laws came into place. 1800s. And in the 1960s, we still fighting for civil rights.
And they called it Reconstruction there.
Yeah, they called it
So,
Reconstruction. Yeah, they called it.
Well, Reconstruction is a good name, isn't it?
It is,
That-
but
if
the
something's
statute,
been destroyed,
Yeah.
then you need to reconstruct it.
yeah, but
don't
the
you?
statute is not called a Reconstruction statute.
Okay.
It's called the Civil Rights statute. And in fact, those statutes, one component to those statutes is race.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is no other, the reason why you have to have some of these other laws in, there is no other components.
Okay.
So what ends up happening is 1981 is breach of contract based off of race.
Now, 1981 is the year that it was.
No, that's the statute.
Okay, so people, a layperson is not clear on
Yeah.
that. When you say 1981, it sounds like that's when it came into being.
Yeah,
but it didn't.
No,
Yeah.
it did not.
Okay.
It came in the 1800s.
Okay.
The statute is 42 USC 1981.
Okay.
Civil rights lawyers know that the 81 statutes are civil rights.
Okay.
So 1981,
Oh, okay.
breach of contract
Okay.
based off of race. Post employment, pre-employment.
Okay.
1983 is civil rights based off of a constitutional violation.
Okay.
Okay, race can't be a component. So then the 83 is you have to have state action.
Okay.
So that's government, the police department, some entity, and it's not race based.
Right.
Is a state action did something to violate your constitutional rights?
Well, really, and that probably came about too because the people who were the most oppressive, the people who were the most low down and dirty and preventing black people from advancing were people who were charged with protecting
Yeah.
the law.
Yeah.
The people who took an oath
Yeah.
to serve and
And
protect.
yeah,
Those were the people we determined were causing all of the damage in the community. And then they were participating
Yeah.
in lynchings
Yeah.
and hangings and murders
Yeah.
and so
Yeah, those are the people of power that were in the issue.
So that was a great statute that came and said, "Hey, we're not going to have state actors performing in this kind
Taking
of way."
people's constitutional rights.
Right.
So, but what ends up happening here is it took the 1800s when slaves were free.
Right.
Because that's where I'm going somewhere. with
I
this.
see. I see.
It took from 1800 to when the slaves were free, and nobody told them on the 16th, 17th, 18th, or 19th that they didn't find out to the 16th, 17th, 18th, or 19th that they are actually free,
Go ahead.
right?
Yeah.
So now you have a Juneteenth holiday.
Some proclamation came into being,
Mm-hmm.
and I say that. Well, actually, it must have been around December the 31st, because have you ever gone to what we call at church the watch meeting? Well, the watch meeting is when African Americans went to church and prayed all night long until the following day, because they knew that the Emancipation Proclamation was going to effect. And so that's what we call the watch meeting. That's where it came from. But then it took 2 years longer before the people in Texas. Some people are saying, of course, you have all these conspiracy theorists who said that they knew that it was going to take a while because they still wanted to allow the slaveholders to get more work out of the slaves before they announced that they were free.
Right.
They still had to come in and harvest.
Well, hey, wait a minute. Hey man, you mad? Wait, you freed them already, man? We got crop to go. Come on, we don't have a cotton gin now. We don't have the machine, the cotton picker.
Just terrible.
We don't have that anymore. We need these hands.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah.
I mean, so when people say, "Get over it," how do you get over something like that when it's continuing to happen today? It seems to me.
But I'm going to interrupt you. So
Okay.
hold on, check this out. It's funny you said that. Get over it.
Yeah.
If you tell, again, let's back up.
Okay.
If you tell a Jewish person to get over the Holocaust, you're anti-Semitic. So if you tell a black person to get over slavery,
Right.
why aren't you racist?
Because you using the race card.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. I didn't
That's
interrupt
okay.
you, man, but-
It's okay. It's okay
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It's okay because and I thought about this one day. I said to myself, even in our churches, sometimes they have a picture in the church, and they call it Jesus, and Jesus is white in some churches. But he's always white in the white churches. You're never going to probably go to a white church and see Jesus as being not necessarily black, but
Darker complexion.
Yeah, dark complexion, and not have
even
the
though
long.
even though he was from a region that where the complexions were historically dark, but I mean, let's keep
Yeah, that's it, right.
Yeah.
And there's no way in the world that he walked around in an area with all of these black folks, and he was blonde hair and blue eyes. But anyway, other thing too there is, and you say to the children that this person is the ruler of the whole world. And you got to believe in this person if you want to go to heaven. What does that do to your psyche there? As a kid, I've been to Africa twice. I was in Ghana twice, and and one day, I was, of course, I'm over there trying to do some not violent stuff, but some
protest,
pro-black stuff. Because I'm in Africa, and one of the young men there said, and that the white man is our superior. That broke my heart, man. What else are you supposed to think if black people don't have anything? How many gas stations do you pull up in and black folk own them there?
Yeah.
Now, I saw somewhere not long ago where there was a lady and her daughters somewhere down in Texas that opened an Exxon station. But how many Exxons do black people own here in Memphis? The gas stations are owned by the Arabs. The hotels are owned by the Middle Eastern people. You know, 'cause we got a couple of clients
We do.
that own hotels. Look there, look.
And somebody giving up that money.
At Dunkin' Donuts. We got clients like that. But how many black clients do you have that own a Dunkin' Donuts there?
None that I know of.
Is it because we don't have enough sense? Is it because we don't have enough money? We can't put our money together there. What is the reason why we don't have anything there?
We'll table that, but like I told you earlier when we started the show, 50, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, we were turning that dollar.
Right.
Today
Right.
we're not.
Okay.
That's our issue.
Okay.
All right. Well, next week we're gonna.
Is the show almost over with there? Oh my God.
Hey, look, y'all. I appreciate you watching the show. It looks like we got Facebook Live back up. So if you got questions, concerns, or whatever, next week we'll be back on Facebook again. So we're back on the Facebook Live now. So we'll have that up and the YouTube Live.
Okay.
Thank you for watching the show. Send us something. Pick a topic. We'll talk about it, and we'll get you back on your legal ease. See you next week.
SCP.